Have you ever stared at a blank screen, knowing the clock's ticking and the deadline's getting closer, but still, you just can't bring yourself to start? You're definitely not the only one. In fact, research shows that about 94% of college students face the same struggle. If you ever felt guilty, anxious, or overwhelmed by putting things off, only to promise yourself never again, and then repeat the cycle, you already feel the emotional weight that procrastination brings, and by understanding that weight, you will be better equipped to manage it rather than be controlled by it. Good evening, everyone. I'm XUE KUNYU. Tonight, I want to talk about the red flag emotions that hide behind procrastination and explore practical ways we can respond more effectively. I'll be through it myself, feeling stuck, drained, and mentally weighed down by tasks I couldn't face. I know how procrastination can quietly erode motivation, cloud our focus, and take a real emotional toll. Procrastination is more than just a delay. It's often a red flag, a signal of deeper emotional struggle, and recognizing it for what it truly is essential if we want to protect our mental well-being. In this speech, I will take you through three key points. First, how procrastination affects our mental health, and second, the emotional factors that often drive it, and finally, some practical strategies to help break the cycle. Before we examine the emotional impact of procrastination, we need to clear up one of the most common misconceptions about it. Procrastination is often rarely seen as laziness or a lack of discipline, a misunderstanding that mislabels the emotional struggle behind it and causes people to feel ashamed, suppress their challenges, and avoid seeking the help they truly need. Shukla emphasized that procrastination is better understood as a response to emotional discomfort rather than a lack of motivation or laziness, and explains that avoiding tasks often serves as coping mechanism to manage negative internal status. Palmieri further notes that labeling procrastination as laziness increases self-blame and shame, which can discourage individuals from seeking support and also makes it more difficult to recognize emotional burnout and recover from it effectively. So, if procrastination isn't just laziness or a lack of discipline, what's really going on beneath the surface? It turns out that procrastination is often tied to emotional regulation difficulties. People delay tasks not because they don't care, but because they are trying to avoid uncomfortable feelings like anxiety, fear, or self doubt. It's not a motivation issue, it's that the emotional weight of the tasks makes it feel too overwhelming or even threatening in that moment. Mohammadi Batama and his friends found that procrastination is closely linked to poor emotional regulation, not a lack of discipline, showing that emotional discomfort is often the driving force behind avoidance. Further supporting this, a 2023 study on undergraduates found that higher levels of anxiety, stress, and depression significantly increase the likelihood of procrastination, suggesting that negative emotional states are strong predictors of delay. Once we clear about the emotional roots of procrastination, the next step is to consider how we can respond to it in a healthier, more constructive way. A promised way to reduce procrastination is to build emotional awareness, practice self compassion, and develop healthier coping habits approaches that help individuals respond to emotional discomfort with understanding rather than avoidance. And research backs this up. A 2025 study from ResearchGate found that when students were trained in emotional acceptance and self compassion, they were not only better at managing their emotions, but also showed a clear job in procrastination. This suggests that when we treat ourselves with kindness, especially during moments of stress, we're more likely to take action instead of avoiding tasks. Another study from Science Direct has similar findings. It shows that even a short period of self-compassion practice help people calm their emotional responses and reduce procrastination levels. In other words, replacing harshing self-talk with patience and care isn't just comforting, it actually helps us getting things done. This change don't happen overnight, but each step towards emotional awareness brings us closer to lasting relief, and that's why this conversation matters. As we conclude, let's focus on the real message that procrastination is sending us. We've seen how procrastination takes a toll on our mental health, how it's often driven by emotional struggles, not laziness, and how building emotional awareness and responding with compassion can help us break the cycle. So, today, I invite you to take practical action by identifying the emotional factors behind your procrastination. When discomfort arises, pause for a moment, set a small goal, whether it's starting the task for just 5 minutes or jotting down the emotion holding you back, and then continue moving forward. Because that frozen feeling we all know, it's not failure, it's a quiet cry for care. And when we choose to listen, that's where real change begins. And thank you for your listening.